remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
Spiderweb
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was having fun.
Wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Julie Dameron, local veterinarian for over 20 years. I am so excited about my new radio show, Tales and Tips, on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Voice of Stockton, and KXVS Radio. I will discuss relevant issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
This is a production for the voice of San Joaquin.
Porque nos vamos a enlazar
con el mero, el gallo de Zacatecas.
That's right, homeboy.
El de Guayá.
You got it, homeboy. Island boy.
Dicen que soy poderoso, yo solo soy su amigo.
My name is Josh, and you're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM. Catch us live on Facebook, YouTube, and the TuneIn app.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff. The voice of San Joaquin and the voice of Stockton presents Tell It Like It Is with your hosts, Jerome Clay and Motex Sanchez.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jerome Clay alongside.
We in the house, we in the building, ready to talk these issues and continue the movement.
All right, well, Tell It Like It Is a show where a conservative Republican and a progressive Democrat can come together.
That's me.
And I'm the conservative Republican, where we can come together and talk about political issues and current events and culture.
Over drinks.
Right? Where the debates may be heated and exchanges may be fiery, but at the end, we're going to respect each other's opinion. We're going to agree to disagree respectfully, right? So we have a hot topic tonight, but before we get into that, Yo, Motec, tell us what we're drinking on tonight.
Tonight we're drinking on some Moscato wine, courtesy of the governor. So shout out to the governor, thank you for that.
And can you explain,
let me throw it to you real fast.
All right. Yeah, so want to give a big shout out to our regular program, our regular event, annual. This year is going to be the 5th annual Chicano Community Program and Radio Reunion. And we're going to have the Escovedo family out. If you know Pete Escovedo and his son Juan Escovedo, I'm sure a lot of us know Sheila E. We grew up with her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to be welcoming them out here in this September, October. So look forward to that. And big shout out to Betty Lupe Ramirez, La Negra, from La Voz. And, of course, Sabor Latino. So thank you, Betty.
Shout out Betty.
Well,
shout out Chicano Reunion. Salute. I was there last year. It was a hot day, but I stayed.
Thank you. Thanks for staying.
So tonight we got to talk about the Stockton March, or the Women's March. We must talk about that Indigenous Peoples March, and we got to talk about the Trump border wall, and we got to talk about the 2020 prospects, and of course our Tell Like It Is story of the day. And then we got the Walking the Talk story as well. So let's get into the Stockton Women's March.
Well, let me first ask, was there a National Women's March this year?
So there was a National Women's March.
There was?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw the Indigenous Peoples March.
Okay,
but I was a little bit unclear on that. But
I believe it was called the March for Life. I think they did it together. The March for Life and the Indigenous Peoples March was together on January 18th, I believe.
No, it was yesterday. For the Indigenous Peoples March.
Well, wasn't it January 18th for the Indigenous Peoples March and the March for Life?
No, the Women's March. Women's March and Indigenous Peoples March, they both were held on the 18th, which was Saturday.
Correct, right.
Yeah,
Yesterday, correct.
All right, so well, let's talk about the Women's March.
So the 19th.
Yes.
The 18th.
Today's the 20th.
Today's the 20th, yeah, the 19th.
Today's the 20th, so it was the 19th.
Tell it like it is. What day is
let's
this?
tell it like it is, everybody.
Okay,
you know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
let me tell you what we're gonna get right.
It's
We're gonna get
2019
these topics
now.
right.
We're going to get these topics
update
right.
the calendars.
Okay.
This show lasts a whole week, so you guys are good.
man.
You guys are good.
So, the Stockton Women's March, I know they came together because they some of their values, they wanted to bring together love, unity, and solidarity for women.
Was that their stated values?
That was kind of their
That was
motto.
the theme?
The theme. I know it's put together by the Stockton Young's Women's Task Force and the OWL movement.
Yeah, Younger Women's Task Force.
Right. So the issue I had with the Stockton Women's March, because I think it was well done. I've seen the pictures on Facebook, and I know you want to invite some people next year to talk about the Women's March on the next week's show. But the issue I had is I know there was an incident that some women had accused a male in the audience of sexual harassment and different other inappropriate things, and a lot of women felt that wasn't the time and place.
Before we go into that, I just want to say something about the Women's March.
Okay.
Last year, Stockton didn't have a Women's March. Many people from Stockton
went to
Sacramento,
yeah.
and some of our folks actually went out to Washington, and then of course. This is the third one, right? So that the very first one, we had folks actually go out to Washington D.C. and
I know some women personally that were there.
Exactly, and so this is the first time the march was in Stockton,
right?
And if you remember, when they were organizing Sacramento's march, there was some controversy, and a lot of the controversy was about inclusion, and I remember there was talk about postponing or canceling the one in Sacramento, which fortunately they didn't. So, There
was similar controversy this year too.
But big ups for our community, at least for taking the challenge on.
I agree with. I agree.
Yeah,
right. But the issue I had with the Women's March, because if the motto,
the Women's March in general, or the one specifically in Stockton,
the one specifically in Stockton,
okay.
Right? If it was about love, unity, and solidarity, right? So this is the issue that I have. You had about three women. They got up and they accused some individuals and even who they work for of sexual harassment and different things that's going on.
Right. You talk about Sammy Nunez and Fathers and Families.
Correct. And so they accused this individual, and yet a lot of women, some were surprised, some felt they were angry that this wasn't a time or place. So my thing is, okay, if it's not time or place at the Women's March, to where a woman, she felt empowered to then saw her accuser, right, and publicly go after accuser.
Yeah, because he was there in the audience.
He was there in the audience.
Yeah.
Wow. Where was the women's support? So to me, it's almost like a double standard. When you had the Me Too movement with Brett Kavanaugh, you seen all these women come together to support her. You have the issue with R. Kelly. All the women are coming together to support these women. Bill Cosby. But then it's selective. Harvey Weinstein, he gets a pass, right? He does the same thing, and no one talks about him. No one's.
I wouldn't say he's getting a pass,
but you don't hear about it in the media as you do R. Kelly.
Marco Polo ain't on TV no more.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, you also have
no disrespect. That was maybe a poorly timed joke, but yeah, he does. He does. He is. I mean, that's kind of what sparked it, right?
Right.
The Harvey Weinstein story. He's such a icon, such a untouchable, and for him to be touched sparked it, because if Harvey Weinstein could be touched, anybody can. Yeah. And so it started happening like dominoes, and it even spread even to men. We had Terry Crews being real brave about his harassment.
Correct.
So. But one thing I wanted to say is we got to be careful about saying words like all women and women was all supporting, because women weren't all supporting Blasey Ford. How many women did we hear say that it was just 30 years ago, suck it up, or even if it did happen, who cares? Boys will be boys. We heard from women.
Well, it was divided down political lines.
Yes, but the point is we're not using that word. We're not saying Democratic women, Republican. We're saying women. So let's be careful and say that it isn't like a blanket support.
It's not a blanket support,
right.
But to me, is Miss Ford, Dr. Ford, she did get a lot of support, right? She even raised up almost $1 million on a GoFundMe account.
Right.
And whether people agree with her or not agree with her, the fact that women are supporting her, to me, is a positive thing, because if something happens to a woman, right, because I have a daughter, if something happens to my child or to any woman, you'd want other women to support women, right? Yeah. And so if this march was about love, unity, solidarity, if these three women came up there and they said, that's my accuser, The women should have said, wow,
you mean.
my accuser, my abuser,
Abuser.
whatever it is, you should have had
Accusing
more
abuser.
support for these women, because for them to even come out in the open and say it, that takes guts. And to then have
Big time.
other women to then accuse them or to be upset with them, it goes to the hypocrisy, because if that was R. Kelly,
I agree.
if R. Kelly was up there, right, they would have booed him and said, oh my God, get this pedophile down. I mean, you know, what did the 4-part series on him?
Alleged.
Well, allegedly, but you got allegedly surviving R. Kelly with allegedly these women coming out saying allegedly he kept him and got him hostage.
But we had the same allegations against Kavanaugh, and we was all about. We heard all about due process then.
Due process.
I do recall.
First, let me clarify.
Uh-huh.
I'm not an advocate for R. Kelly, and I don't know the situation personally.
Right.
But I know that many people have been adversely affected, and when we got when if someone's brave enough to say that they was harmed, then we should be at least receptive enough to hear them out.
It
and
definitely
be supportive.
deserves attention,
Yeah.
and it deserves scrutiny to look at, because when certain allegations like that are made,
Right.
it calls the question to say, is this true or is it not? But the last thing anybody should do is ignore it.
Right.
Correct.
And that leads us to
With
the case
either R. Kelly or Kavanaugh or anybody.
I
or
agree.
Sammy Nunez, right? So
right.
that calls the questions to here in the Stockton community to say, look, you've now had multiple women come forward against this individual.
Right.
Full disclosure, both you and I have had our issues with him
Sam.
personally,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So this is not something that we see coming out of left field.
Right.
At the same time, I agree with you. What better platform than the Women's March here in
Right.
Stockton to address such issues?
Yeah.
And the thing that I have seen that has been disheartening is that when these women, these courageous women, did come out and call out their quote unquote abuser, there were other women who were either giving them a hard time,
Yes.
or remain silent,
Right.
And in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, whose day is tomorrow, that
Correct.
we celebrate, right? With his birthday just happening yesterday. A famous quote from him is that we will not remember the betrayal of our enemies, right? We will, and I'm paraphrasing, but we will remember the silence of our friends.
That's
right?
true.
And that's what's disheartening to see, is that you have so many local women in positions of leadership, whether they be nonprofit, whether they be political,
Right.
who know there are things going on that raise the question. Not to say, because again, allegedly, right?
It's
But
all
it raises
allegedly.
the question, and it forces the issue to be investigated and vetted to say, have these things happened or not? Right? Like, women don't just come out of nowhere and just take this off. Like one of the women who came forward.
But even if they did, if
but
somebody says something, you
then
got
it
to
should be
investigate.
disproven, right?
you
And
gotta
so one of
investigate.
these women have come forward, and all of these women are former employees. So it's not like they just walked off the street and just came out with this out of nowhere.
Right.
One of them even just recently had a court date where she was seeking a protective order
Yes.
from another co-worker
Yes.
that is involved with the organization of fathers and families. So that's the issue that needs to be called into question. And the part that's kind of disappointing to see is that I feel, in knowing a lot of these individuals involved, that you have people that are in leadership positions, and I feel that their silence comes from the fact that they know that there would be political ramifications, and it would be politically inconvenient to stand in solidarity with this women, to force the issue, to call the question, and seek justice
Right.
for the greater good of the community. And that's the part that is very discouraging. So full disclosure, we both reached out to several women today.
Correct.
that were involved, because as men, we're not trying to pass our judgment on a women's march, right? We have reached out to the women involved. We've reached out to several organizers. We've reached out to several participants, and many of which, because it was such a short notice, they had other plans. They could not be here today, but we are planning to have several of the participants on the show hopefully for next week.
And once again, we're not trying to bash the march. I think the march was very productive, and I think it's needed.
Yeah.
My only issue with the march is if the whole main purpose of the march is to unify women, if it's to bring in solidarity.
I don't think it's for that. I think
Well,
we got-
that was their motto, though.
Well, no.
I didn't see that either.
Here's what I believe fully. Women are not a monolith.
Neither are men.
So, and neither are men. We are not monolithic, right? We are very diverse. So,
Neither are ethnic groups.
Exactly.
Neither are
but still,
religious denominations.
It is to unite in solidarity.
Okay.
But in solidarity of the diverse issues. See what I'm saying?
See, so that's
okay. But so not being a monolith, everyone's not going to agree on every point. But
that's part of the process.
Like you remember the first march. I mean, first march was about the pink hats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, pink little hats and two little antennas.
And you remember pink
little hats and two little antennas.
Is that what you called them?
I saw a couple of them yesterday.
I thought that was called. No, let's leave that.
We know the word.
Pink little hats, two little antennas.
This is G-rated though.
But when people got on stage, a lot of them was fiery.
Yeah.
When Madonna got on stage, you know, she said something that some people said might be illegal.
Well, I mean, she said to do something, to the White House, which caused an FBI to investigate.
Sure, and of course it's free speech and rhetoric, and she didn't call on action for somebody to do it, but she said, hey, this, but she was fiery. She was emotional, and people were expressing things that not necessarily were good things, or not necessarily were nice things, but were things that needed to be expressed, and so I think that's what happened on the stage here in Stockton.
Well, I'll say it's a little bit different, right? And the reason why is because with the first march in D.C., you had diversity of backgrounds, you had diversity of inclusiveness, right? You had you had a reach out to these celebrities because they knew it would draw people to the event, and that was one of the issues that I spoke with people that I know personally, women activists locally, women leaders that I know personally, who were not invited to the event, who were not given.
You talking about the national one, the first one?
I'm talking about here yesterday in Stockton.
Okay.
Who were not given equal inclusion, who were not given equal chance for participation or for their voice and their issues to be shared, and that's why I think it's important for us to reach out to the organizers for that's gonna reverb. And that's I think one of the issues why we do need to further this discussion and this dialogue, because if we're gonna have, here's what I'm hoping, and to me, I'm gonna tell you what, it's inspirational as a man who is a father of daughters, right? Who was raised by a single mother. To me, I love to see women coming together, standing up for their rights, speaking their voice, making their presence known, especially in the political climate of America today. I 100% fully support, celebrate that. But the part that is discouraging to see or concerning to see is that when women that I know personally feel that they were not included in the platform, and what I'm hoping it is not, but it, to me, from my perspective, it's looking like it is that it's more of a political show versus coming together and saying, look, this is the platform, this is what's affecting our community. And moving forward, these are the resolutions that we are going to seek in unison and strategically, right? So for instance, when we see the mayor's wife get up on stage and be one of the speakers, she's represented as a woman, and all power to her for that, right? Right. But what I did not see from her speech was referring to the fact that rape in Stockton as a crime has increased 25% last year from the year prior, and the year prior increased exponentially from the year before that. Wow. So you have rape is out of control as far as a statistic right now in Stockton. You have many of the homeless that are women that are mothers of children living out on the streets with their children. Not their voices not being represented by the wife of the mayor. You have so many other issues. You have the fact that our current mayor, and I was there personally when he called in riot police to forcibly remove mothers, sisters, cousins, aunties, grandmothers of men who have been killed by the Stockton Police Department, right? And
men and boys,
and men and young men, right? Not to get into the legalities or the verdicts of any kind of investigations or trials, but at the very least, that issue requires answers, and it requires sensitivity. It requires attention, right? So when you have a mayor in a position of leadership who defers to riot-geared officers 50 deep, forcibly put hands on women who were doing nothing more than sitting on the floor,
right,
in protest,
right,
who were silencing their voice, and there's no mention of them, right? That's the issues that I feel that if we cannot address those issues, then what's the point of having a women's march, right?
Okay.
If we're not going to address real issues, and I'm not saying that as a man, I'm saying that as an activist who's been doing this for over 2 decades. I'm saying this again as a father of daughters, as somebody who has stood in the trenches, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, in my experience as an activist in this community, hands down, the majority of the time, the majority of the participants have been strong women.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I give all props to women because they have helped make me the man that I am today. So this is not to mansplain or bash the movement or anything like that, right? But this is to call the question to say, is the purpose really reaching its intended goals, and what are the goals, right? Because if you're not going to speak for the least of these, then what is the point?
I'd like to, man.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to comment on this. So, it's hard to. First of all, we have to acknowledge that these are people from different organizations who may have ties to one or another, and there's a bunch of people who have diverse backgrounds and diverse connections, and some are really tightly knit, and some are loosely knit, and some are disconnected altogether and just coming together. So, as far as what Motek said, I can't refute that commentary. I remember that happening at City Hall. That was awful. That was embarrassing. It was a national embarrassment.
It happened 3 times in a row.
Yes, I remember it started to become a trend, and we became a national embarrassment because of it. However, I also think that this march here was a first step, right? And of course, they didn't get everything right, but they got a lot right. And I think that it's important to acknowledge that starting something there's a risk involved. We call them entrepreneur, right? You risk taker. So these women's groups in our community took on that risk to do this march, even knowing that the controversy behind it. The very first women's march in Washington was criticized as being not inclusive enough, especially to black and brown women. And so this is something that is a struggle that we deal with in our society. So, of course, women as a subset struggle with it as well. But I think it's important to note that throughout our American history and the civil rights movement, it is women of different backgrounds coming together who have fueled our civil progress. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say, because I just wanted to comment on a comment that was left on as we were discussing it, to explain the mission and the motive of the Women's March. And this is from Antonisha Williamson. It says that
who I know, we both know personally.
Okay, so it says that these are the values here. The Stockton's Women's March 2019 values: love, unity, and solidarity. All should be able to see themselves in those values. The organizer of the march were the Stockton Younger Women's Task Force and the OWL movement, and subcommittees were formed and are the driving force behind the march. And why we chose the speakers we wanted to create a platform for women to reflect our values and diversity and the true face of Stockton. Connection to the International March: we support the sisters globally and we're inspired by the movement, but it was important for Stockton to have its own identity. And so those are, I think, just some clarifiers for people who are involved with it. Yeah. But the first thing she said was, collectively, here is what we want people to know.
Love.
Everyone was invited. No one was excluded, to my knowledge. And so even though there might have been communication.
So I have knowledge, right?
Okay.
I have knowledge of people that were not included in the platform.
Can we do this, Don?
Yeah.
So for the women who went to the march, is there a way they can call in if they want to chime in?
They can.
We want to hear from them. You know what I mean?
So
yeah, we want to hear from them.
Okay, so let's see how we could do it.
They can call
because
you know what? Let's see. Can I?
Let's save that. I say we save that for next week, right?
Yeah,
because we want to have.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to
So
have
why don't we do
somebody.
this?
We want to have women that were involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to speak on their behalf. We
And
want to have
next
women
week
involved.
we're gonna have a show focused on this.
And we
Yes.
want to focus on this.
So let's do that.
We can spend the whole hour and focus on this.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I feel it's that important, right?
So folks who
Because
got comments
when
now,
the stated message is
Right.
talking about love and unity and inclusion, and then I personally talk to women that are telling me, look, first of all, how is it that this event gets a whole one of Stockton's main streets shut down?
right,
They don't have cops surrounding them.
right,
They don't have 100 police cruisers flanking them.
right.
They're not getting hit with batons, physically removed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they were.
Right.
And they are women and they are leaders.
Right.
And so that's who I speak on behalf of as far as including their voice and making sure it's
Sure.
being included in this conversation,
Right.
because I personally had conversations with them today, right? And then when we both see these women get on stage, call out their alleged abuser for things that they have pushed and come out with public statements, and then they're attacked by other women.
Well, now I wasn't there, but let me ask you. So you're saying that they weren't universally well received, but I can't imagine that there weren't people in the audience who supported.
So here's my concern.
But again,
let's get to the point.
Not a monolith. You know,
let's get straight to the point. This is
do
my
it.
concern, right? When I look at and I've had a prior experience with the Young Women's Task Force, right? And we could let this be a call out to anybody from the Young Women's Task Force.
Younger Women's Task Force.
And we can have this conversation and this dialogue, right? But I've had experience with them in the past where I have asked them questions because to me they were organizing an event and it was not inclusive of all candidates, right? It is illegal for a 501c3 nonprofit
Correct.
to endorse any candidate or
Right.
to show favoritism towards any one candidate or against
Right,
another
that's why
candidate.
we got this right here on the wall.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So we already know. So that is when I asked them that and I called them out, there were statements made such as the fact they claim to be a 501c4, which by IRS law can endorse a candidate, right? So when I look up what is the Young Women's Task Force, it's part of a national organization. And it's not an organization. It's not a nonprofit. It is a chapter. It's a club, right? As part of this greater national women's network.
Okay.
So if the national network is a 501c3, how can a local chapter be a 501c4? That to me already shows that there is inconsistencies in what is being promoted and what is the fact and the reality, right? So that's some of the concerns that I have personally. I'm not just talking out of the ether or philosophically. I have dealt with individuals involved personally, right? So I'm open to having that dialogue with anybody that wants to come on the show. They will not be ambushed. They will be treated with respect. Anybody who wants to come on the show and state their side or their position, and we can have that dialogue respectfully.
So we'll table that for next week.
Right.
But we got to move into the.
So let's. I think. Well, go ahead.
So
man.
we'll table it for next
interrupt.
week, and let's table it for next week, and whoever.
But
wants to
communicate
dialogue.
with us, the audience out there. and
We're
folks
going to
who
work
listen.
on this during this week because this is a
and-
dialogue that I feel that's
Let's
important
do
that
it
we
right.
need to
So
continue.
right. So let's get into the indigenous peoples.
There was also again yesterday was the other component of this was Indigenous Peoples
right.
March.
So let's get into that and that awful picture. You had that individual who was from a Catholic church. What was it? The Covenant Catholic High School.
Yeah.
He was a part of an anti-abortion group, and he saw a Native American out there, one of the elders, and
also a Vietnam veteran.
Also a Vietnam
which
veteran.
We are both veterans ourselves.
Right. Gave his life for this country. Could have died on the battlefield, and just outright disrespect an individual. And it's sad.
And it wasn't just one. It was a whole group.
Right.
Of them.
But it's sad because if your message, first off, if you're in a Catholic school, right, and they're supposed to be teaching, non-prejudice and you want to be in this anti-abortion group, to attack the Native Americans, even with build the wall, the Native Americans should have built a wall around us. I mean, this was their land.
Yes.
Hey.
So to attack the Native American
To the beat.
I got a co-sign that. It's sounding like it is.
You know what I'm saying?
This coming from a conservative
I
Republican.
thought Chuck D was up in
No,
here.
no,
for
no.
a second.
But what I'm saying is, you cannot tolerate prejudice at any level, no matter if you're conservative, no matter if you're liberal. Prejudice is wrong on all counts, right? And so that's what we all come together.
That is something for the record. We got to put that like on a plaque.
No. I mean that's just something.
That's something we can agree on.
Whether you're conservative, whether
Or
you're black,
progressive,
white,
Democrat,
or whatever you
Republican,
are,
we should be able to agree on that.
Prejudice has no place, and even here,
No, you
it
should,
had
you
no
should have
place.
have prejudice when you're crossing the street. Look both ways.
Right. Well, that's the only time you should have
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
But it's just sad that you have this Native American, right? This was his land that we done stole his land, and now you're talking about building walls around the person that you done stole the land from.
See, you got it wrong, man. You know this land was earned by blood and bootstraps.
Oh, come on.
every square inch.
Oh, Governor Don is off today. Boy.
Okay, so look, here's the issue with that, right? Because that's what's not getting enough attention. The fact that there was an Indigenous Peoples March on Washington yesterday that is really carrying over from the movement that sparked in Standing Rock, North Dakota, which I was at.
Yeah.
Went with a few
Thank
participants
you for that, by the way.
from Stockton, represented on Stockton's behalf. And so it is good to see that movement continuing, right? Because there are a lot of issues that are particular to Indigenous peoples, both nationally and here locally here in Stockton, right? And that again brings us to certain issues that occurred with the Women's March yesterday.
Because
but
we had a local Indigenous Peoples March here.
But again, we're gonna continue that for next week, and I hope to get some of those people on here next week.
So let me ask you this: Did the Indigenous Peoples March, was it scheduled for this day to maximize exposure, or was it just Indigenous peoples are so indigenous?
I can't.
My thing is,
who else was marching?
I wasn't part of the organizing
my thing
committee,
is
so I
this.
can't
Why
speak
shouldn't
to
they have
that.
their own day? Like why should they have shared that day with the Women's March or the March of Life? To me, it should have been their own day. And so, I understand why the group was out there for the March for Life, because they're promoting. If you don't believe in abortion, that's what they're out there promoting, whether you agree with it or disagree with it.
So it was more of a. I look at was that a counter protest?
Yeah,
I think it was a counter protest.
Was a counter protest, right?
It was a counter protest.
So my thing is like that's bad timing, because why would you have that the same day that there's a women's march? Like why would you just automatically assume that is the point of the women's march to say we got a counter protest?
Again, women are not a monolith, so these are women who think.
I totally agree.
Right. So
these
women.
But if the main issue of the women's march is not about pro-choice or any of that, then why would you feel compelled to say we got to make that our number one issue and have a protest march just about that one issue?
But is it not? Does it not make sense? Like these women here say, well, my biggest issue is that I don't want abortion to happen because I think it's wrong. These other women say, well, my biggest issue is discrimination. Or
yeah,
my
but what I'm saying is that if that is not the number one item on the agenda for the women's march, then why would
it was a counter protest?
Why would the counter protesters feel compelled to say we're going to go call them out on something that's not even their main agenda item?
You have a right to protest no matter what it is. You're
right. You're right. Forgive me, Jerome.
Right.
I didn't
you have a right
interrupt.
to protest. So my thing is, if it was done peacefully, my problem with the counter protest is that it got disrespectful, right? It got to a place of racism. It got to a place of prejudice. It got to a place to where you're talking about a Native American, right? You're talking things that you shouldn't be talking about.
Who was peacefully just singing his prayer?
Elders, he was an elder. So to be that disrespectful, it went beyond the counter protest. It went to a place of like Charlottesville.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And it's getting to this place where.
But as a go ahead.
No, but it's just getting to this place to now that even if you want to come out and you want to protest, even a peaceful protest, you have these other groups feel empowered now to come in and bring in all this racism and hate.
Who's responsible for that?
Shut them down.
Right.
Who's responsible for that?
Yeah.
Whose hats were they rocking? Whose gear were they rocking?
You see the article that's
so
up.
You see all of them when you see all of them as a group rocking "Make America Great" Trump hats.
Let me read the title of the article.
That is being encouraged by the leader of the United States.
You have it on the screen for them to see.
It says,
"Look at this picture:
teenagers in MAGA hats mocked an Omaha elder and Vietnam vet."
His name is Nathan Phillip
at an Indigenous Peoples March. And he got it on picture and everybody.
Shout out to Nathan Phillip,
the
indigenous
so
activist.
Yes.
You know, But you know, we got to move from this. We got to talk about, since we're talking about mega hats, right?
We got more.
So we got more. Since we talking about mega hats, I'm ready for you guys. I'm ready for the Democrat, the progressive as it is. Your Democrats was like, we're ready to impeach Trump. We got this BuzzFeed article. We done found out that Trump done told Cohen to lie to Congress and all this stuff, and we got it from Robert Mueller.
Which surprises no one.
And the great Robert Mueller came out on Friday and said it did not happen.
No, that's not what he said.
Oh, here we see. Wait. Hey,
fact
Don
check.
got to steal thunder. What did he?
You know what we got to do?
Robert Mueller said.
Did you hear what he said?
He said there were inaccuracies.
Okay.
In the
BuzzFeed.
In the article.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, let me hear it.
He did not refute any of them.
Oh my God.
Exactly. And it's important to note that. It's important to note that.
Because think about it now.
Oh my God.
You know what?
Close.
I'm gonna get a hat made. It's gonna say make facts.
No. Here we go. We got Flipmeister over here, and now we got Governor Don.
Matter again.
No. Facts do matter.
Governor Don is all about facts.
He's all about facts. So here's the facts. The Democrats all week, all I heard on every show.
Yeah.
We got to impeach Trump. It is true. Oh my God!
What's wrong with
over.
that?
Resign today. Do dignity and just resign. And now when
I concur.
when Mueller released the letter, the statement, crickets. It was crickets. I didn't hear nothing from
because it wasn't even.
I mean, it was crickets.
Hey, you got to be fair now. Mueller, listen. Unlike the people now who's working on behalf of the White House to cover this story, or we should say cover it up.
Okay, oh man.
Hold on.
It is.
100,
tell it like it is.
Hold on. 100% of the White House representatives were asked, "Is it true?" And 100% of them.
Let me hear.
They said I can't talk.
Refused to answer.
Right.
They said I cannot talk.
Hold on. Then they said, "Well, do you think it's true?" And 100% of them refused to answer.
That's good.
So
okay.
that's. So
I
like that. 100% refused to answer, right?
So what does that mean? Just like the Women's March, silence is consent.
No. So no, we're not going there.
Silence is consent.
So just like 100%
that means they
of
all
them
agree.
refused to answer when Trump proposed, right, to do this shutdown where we free 800,000 people, right? He said, "I'm gonna give you DACA, what you want." The Democrats been wanting DACA.
Why are you gonna use that hostage?
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna give you DACA.
No, it does
I want the wall.
That's not factual.
That is factual. He said, "I'm gonna give him DACA."
No. He said, "I would.
No,
I would defer prosecuting DACA people for 3 years."
Yep. He wants to take
Hold
it
on.
away.
Hold on.
He's trying to use it as a bargaining chip.
Okay. What is DACA?
The Dreamers Act. Deferred.
How many of the Dreamers is saying,
Like
"Well, just don't prosecute me for 3 years.
Just give me a 3-year
That's
head
all
start.
I need, because after that I'll commit all my crimes and I'll be rich."
Listen. Hey, he compromised.
Okay.
And but still.
I don't know, man.
Well, once again, I've said it before,
and
I'm telling like it is. I'm telling you. You guys keep talking about
I'm
this.
not hearing it like it is.
You guys keep talking about this $5.7 billion that we got to pay.
Yeah.
I've already told you last week, and I'm gonna say it this week, and I'm gonna say it forever.
You talking about for the wall, right?
Go ahead.
El Chapo needs to pay for the wall, so stop playing. Let El Chapo pay for the wall, and we're good. We can have the 800 people back employed.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe from Town It Like It Is.
No. Listen.
For El Chapo to pay for the wall.
They have his money right now.
Yeah.
So just forget it. I mean, you want this dumb wall that does not need it.
Wait.
Wait, hold on. Did we just have a conservative Republican say that the wall's not needed?
You don't need a wall because truthfully,
somebody screenshot this.
No. It's
video record this
because the majority of
before
people
it gets taken down by the CIA.
Coming in, they're not coming through the wall anyways. They're coming through, like you said, on student visas.
Exactly.
And they're overstaying their visas. So I mean, we know what this wall is about. This wall is political. This wall is about his campaign promise.
Okay. Are you ready to come to this side? Is that what we're witnessing right now?
No, I'm gonna tell you what we're witnessing. Let me tell you what we're witnessing.
Are we witnessing reason right now?
Yeah. We just got to vote.
And logic.
We just got to vote. Right. So we witnessing what's going on. There are plenty of Republicans who stood against Trump about Syria.
Right.
About the sanctions. Right. Relieving the sanctions.
But they're not doing it on this.
Hold on.
Matter of fact, I
think they are though.
This is the point of the show where we need to refill.
Okay.
Just on that, we gotta celebrate. We gotta cheers to that.
There's nothing to celebrate.
We got a conservative Republican agreeing that the wall is not needed.
There is nothing to celebrate. I've always said that it is a dumb wall. It's just a campaign promise that if he gets this wall, he's just trying to look at 2020, what we're going to talk about in a minute. But it's all about his campaign.
It's
promise.
politics.
It's all about politics, right?
It's political circus.
I mean, if anybody knows, a lot of immigration.
Can we cheers to that?
Yeah, cheers.
Time out one time.
A lot of immigrants.
Salud.
A lot of immigrants
Tell it like
they
it is.
don't even come over the wall. A lot of them, they come student visas,
Man,
visas.
that wine tastes a little bit sweeter with that sip.
No, so here's the thing. I'm just saying, if he wants the wall, right? First off,
He ain't never gonna get the
I don't
wall.
know how you gotta take all these people's land, right? It's gonna be tied up in eminent domain
it's
property
cold.
forever, right? So, but even past all that,
Yeah.
oh my God! If you want the wall, take El Chapo's money,
Yeah.
call it the La Chapo Wall, right? The Great La Chapo Wall, built by the money of El
Actually,
Chapo.
you know what?
And El Chapo's doing bad right now because I looked at his case.
Yeah.
His ex-wife is saying he done threatened her, and so he got all his boys.
He got the novella on the
man.
tongue.
He got child support now?
Chapo gonna want to use his wall for something else because his ex-wife done snitched him out. His boy done snitched him out. They all in witness protection.
Tell it, Jerome.
So really, take his money. He's gonna go to, like you said, child support anyway.
So they should do him like Lucky Luciano during World War II and say, look, you cooperate with us, we're going to give you the golden ticket out of jail.
Hold on. I got to tell it like it is.
Yeah, tell it. Please tell it.
I got to tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is, Don.
The El Chapo is
Yes.
diversion. That's a diversionary tactic,
is.
the idea. Let me tell you why. It's just simple. First of all, you know how that money works. Man, we were sitting on Iranian money for 40 years, bro. Like, that money's just sitting there collecting interest, first of all. And
Collecting dust.
If it ain't collecting
was in a
interest,
crate.
it's collecting dust.
It was in a
Hold on.
crate.
Yeah, that's
Second
true.
point.
It was in the
second
same
point.
warehouse with Indiana Jones where he found the Ark of the Covenant, and it was in that same warehouse just sitting there.
You know what?
No, but keep talking about that, Don. Keep talking about Governor Don.
Yeah, it's
what happened with that
being
money?
studied by men.
No,
good men.
No, you brought up a good
It was in
point.
Area 51,
Because remember,
collecting dust.
and I will say this.
Yeah.
Remember when Obama gave back their money?
Yep.
People had an issue like, oh my God, I saw millions of dollars going out in truckloads, but they didn't realize that was their money.
Yeah.
That we done seized their money,
We
and
just
we just
parked
gave
it.
them. We
Hey,
gave back their money.
It was the exact bills.
right.
It was
And
like
so-
it was
the
like
old-
a servant,
it was the little
the
faces.
servant in the
It was the
Bible
little
who
faces.
buried the money. But here's the reason why none of this. We got to move on. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
Mic drop. 2 years, Republicans have all the power in the world to do this,
Yeah, we did.
and they didn't. So
They did
everything pointed to Democrats. Let's just tell it like it is. It's unreal, not accurate, because they could have done it a long time ago. You want to blame anybody for not building the wall? You got to blame them Senate Republicans and then the House Republicans who didn't vote for it,
It is
2 years ago.
It's strategic tactics because
Right,
now,
right.
At the
But
end
I'm
of the
glad
day,
we recognize
it's
that
all
it's just
politics
tactics.
because
It is
Trump
politics.
on his campaign, right? Which we're gonna talk about this 2020 because this is about to be explosive. He's gonna be out there, and he's gonna blame Democrats for everything, and his base is gonna be out. I mean, he's gonna bring back them cornbread people that from the fields of.
What's wrong with cornbread?
Well, I don't know what's wrong with it. I love cornbread, but he gonna bring those people out that have
Wait,
all those racist.
Corn, you talking about Iowa?
I mean Iowa. I mean Missouri. I mean he's going to the deep sticks.
Shout out to
Steve
all
King.
my progressives in Iowa, Missouri,
Yeah,
holding it down.
No, he's gonna bring them out,
Right.
and what's gonna be sad is they're gonna look at the wall issue and how bad the wall was. When Amazon makes Halloween costumes with a guy on the wall, you know it's bad, right? I mean, this really happened.
It's popular.
Right? Well, okay.
But here's what I predict, and the reason why I predict it because I've been looking at Trump's approval ratings over the past 29
ain't
days.
never
Hold
been
on,
good.
hold on. It ain't never been good. Every week is going down by 2 or more points. Here's what's going to happen
like
in
that.
Middle America. Middle America is going to say,
They're going to realize that we're duped.
wait. It's like this. It's just simple. It's like, wait. What do Middle America focus and care more about? Somebody 1,200 miles away crossing a fence, or military families, federal workers?
Yeah.
This shutdown is affecting people
In
who
real
everyone
life.
But who's gonna
knows.
take the blame?
Hold on. It's affecting people who everyone knows, and regardless of who's going to take the blame,
Right.
when
Clump. Now you call it
when Trump claimed
President Clump, huh?
when
Now you gonna disrespect Eddie Murphy? Huh? The Clump,
Trump,
son. Oh, man.
Trump claimed the
You done
shutdown.
disrespect Eddie Murphy.
You can't.
Where Eddie at?
It ain't a soundbite. Trump
Okay.
claimed the shutdown before it happened. He
That's
said,
true.
"I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
That's
do
true.
it, Chuck.
He did.
I'll take it. I'll take on the mantle."
Hey, and he did. So we got to talk about the 2020 prospect picks.
Well,
right?
first let's talk about who's already been announced.
Who's been announced? So you have, I love her. Elizabeth Warren. I mean,
Yep.
The more I see her, and I see her.
Was she at the Indigenous Peoples March
Oh,
yesterday?
she probably was. She probably was.
She was at both.
Claiming her one
The
of
more I see her, the more I love
1,000%.
her.
Hey,
I seen you see.
I'd rather
with the
somebody
beard?
claim it and act like it than
Governor,
pretend
you
like
see how
it.
But she ain't acting like it. That's
You
the
see how
problem.
You see how
Yeah,
she tried to drink the beer? Like, it was so hard for her to drink a beer. And then she was just like she was hip and cool. And then the best part about her, I love her commercial. When she gets the news that she could be from some Cherokee, I don't know where she was from.
Cherokee.
And
She said she was Cherokee.
And she throws her hands up and she runs out.
Because of her high cheekbones.
Right.
Yeah.
And she runs out as she's been vindicated because her father married this Indian woman and had to elope.
That made her look like a fool in my eyes.
And then the Cherokee Indian then sent out a statement.
Yeah.
So this is
That's
the
all
woman
bad. That's all
that
bad.
have announced that she's going to run.
I got a feeling
So,
she's not going to be in the top 2.
But first of all,
I'm going to predict that right now
Yes.
on the record.
That's all genetical math, right? So the
She
numbers
got high cheekbones though.
But to be even, look, let's say you know somebody they know they're Native American. You look at them, you know they're Native American. They probably mix with other stuff, and they come to find out they're 1/64th, right? Well, that's legally not enough. But hold on. But that is what it is.
That's
right?
true.
Right?
That's true. So she
now,
didn't
now,
do
now,
million?
hold on. It goes exponentially. So one more generation further
okay.
is 128th.
So let me
So when you go, hold
this.
on. Let me just say this.
I'm here.
If one of your grandparents is a Native American, your great grandkids,
It's with Native American.
they got it
The
in them,
1/8
but
rule, like blacks.
No. I'm just saying.
rule.
I'm
One
just saying
drop rule?
genetics.
You talking about the one drop
One
rule?
drop rule. No, it ain't that. But she do just about.
This is less than a one drop.
No, she
For
got
record.
at least 600,000 drops.
Oh man, that's
At least.
Out of how many million though?
Yeah, that's true.
So let me
That's
tell
true.
you. You know,
let me go on the record as somebody that's a quarter
I
Native
know-
American,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Hold on. I got to see your Ancestry.com, my
We
friend.
can read it in
A
there.
quarter,
Hey,
we finna blow him up.
we gon-
Hey, turns out it was 22%.
we're gonna do like Trump did Elizabeth Warren. I'm gonna take that little box
Hey.
and I'm gonna sip it over to him and we're gonna swab his
Look.
mouth and then we're gonna get the ancestry back. And if it ain't right,
I already
we're gonna
got-
get the Cherokee.
Oh, man.
We don't
people
gotta
that-
worry about
All
that.
you
That's
gonna find
already
out is
done.
turns out somebody got a record.
Oh, Hey, listen.
Don't swab me. Don't
So
swab
let me say, like I say, as somebody of Mexican descent,
Yes, sir.
who is a quarter Native American,
Okay.
through my Mexican descent, right?
You respect
To
her?
me, no, I don't.
Okay.
And because when
I
you're
appreciate
gonna
that.
come out and say that you're 1/1200th of a percent, right? To me, and I don't know if we got enough time to look at
let's-
the facts, right? But I want to see.
Let's hear it.
Do the average human, right? Or I can't say all human, right? But Europeans, Asians, I think there's a higher percentage of people that have Neanderthal DNA than what she is Native American, right?
Okay.
And I got a problem with that. That she's going to use it for political means.
All right.
Just like we got here in town.
Yeah.
This assembly member, Susan Eggman, saying that she's Latina, right? But then we come to find out that her last name is not Telemontes. That's nowhere part of her legal name, but she's voting policy-wise against issues that affect Mexican farm workers that have overtime like every other American after 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I digress because.
But to be fair,
right?
you could have a non-Latino last name and still be.
Most definitely.
Yes,
right?
of course.
So my
'Cause I know some Joneses.
My thing is like, look,
Right.
at the end of the day, regardless of what percentage Elizabeth Warren is or is not, right? The things that matter, I don't care, and I don't care people who are full-blooded Native American or full-blooded Mexican, right? If you can't stand in solidarity with the issues that matter to the Mexican community, to the Native American communities, like Standing Rock, like overtime for farm workers after 8 hours, like every other American worker in the nation, right?
Right.
Then it does not matter to somebody who takes pride in their heritage, right?
That's true.
So I just want to state that for the record, and that's why I don't have no respect as a progressive Democrat for Elizabeth Warren. So to get on to the next candidate
that topic or on that in that arena.
Period.
I
Because
agree.
to me,
I agree.
Wait. What about consumer financial protection?
To me,
hold on. You remember when she broke? Look. She was the one who Hillary Clinton introduced when she was the wife of the president.
So again,
Right.
as
remember-
a progressive,
and remember-
I can't respect that. My thing is like, look, it speaks to somebody's character. And people that are in elected office or positions of leadership, it's about character, right? Because you can say I'm about this issue and that issue, and they sit down and do the calculus, and they, what percentage of the population supports
Right.
this, and they do their polling and this and this and that. To me, both parties, have become over-reliant on the politics instead of looking at what is best for the majority of people.
Hey, but remember this.
And I feel that I'm an advocate for getting back to the needs of the people.
It sounds like to me that you thinking that if she had not endorsed Bernie Sanders, that there's no way he would have lost the nomination.
And let me tell you this. Governor Don, this is the problem I have with her.
All right.
When she went to Harvard and they have her listed as the first
That's another
colored
issue,
woman,
right?
that's the issue I
another
have
issue.
because you have colored women that couldn't even get into Harvard.
Who were denied an entry.
She
She took
listed
somebody
as
else's
the
spot.
first colored woman. But to move on,
I can't respect that. Let's move on.
Let's move
Kamala
on.
Harris has also announced, right? Kamala Harris has announced also for the Democratic race.
I mean,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because now I'm gonna say this. I hear y'all attacking Elizabeth Warren.
okay.
Not
you gonna laugh.
Hold
when you
on.
say about
Of course,
her.
y'all can't see me. Y'all can't see me. I said that. Hold on. Let me.
It's not an attack.
Wait.
cracking up laughing.
Let me finish.
Right?
Y'all can't see me.
Like it is.
The audience can't see.
Governor Don
I'm
is cracking up
smiling.
laughing.
I'm smiling while I say it because I'm not serious about these non-attack attacks. But what I'm saying is,
Not attack.
but the establishment media has come out full force against Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, who ain't even announced, and the attacks about the sexual harassment during the campaign under what you call a opposition research investigation on Bernie Sanders, who hasn't even announced that he's running. Now, I'm just saying.
We all know what that's
hold
about.
on.
Okay,
let's keep it real. And I'm gonna say this because and we know Kamala Harris. You know, we got to see her. We got to talk to her. You know,
I rode in an elevator one time when I used to work in the
back in band camp.
Look, you
back
can.
in band camp.
But everybody can, everybody's supposed to develop their own opinion. But she has been an advocate for Californians, especially during the housing, the mortgage default crisis. Now
her office also, right? Again, as a progressive, I got to represent. Her office also advocated against the early release or reclassification of certain crimes in California,
right?
Of prisoners that were being held by a prison industrial complex,
right. Now she also, but her background is attorney.
The argument was made that it would affect their prison labor pool,
right?
I can't respect that. I can't respect.
Right. That's a poor argument.
I can't respect that the whole time she was Attorney General for California, she did zero to work on accountability for police departments.
Yes.
Like Stockton Police Department, like San Bernardino, like Oakland PD, like LAPD, like the LA sheriffs that were abusive towards their community.
Yeah.
She did nothing to try to solve those situations, right? So I cannot respect her time in office to say, well, she did such a great job when she was at a lower position. I have full faith in her to be the president of the United States. So that's just my position personally.
But what I wanted to continue to say is that in spite of there's a mixed reviews on her fitness for office. The point is that she just fired. She just fired.
Let me get to the point.
Point
of clarification.
Okay, go ahead.
Fitness for office when Donald Trump was the president of the United States, you got to be thrown out the window.
Thank you for fixing. Let me
throw that out the window.
I have to rephrase
That's
that.
No longer.
Let me say, even though some people support her and some people don't.
Right.
The fact is that they just fired somebody who was part of the campaign who was involved in some sexual harassment. Hillary Clinton.
That she would have known
Hillary
about.
Clinton was informed of somebody who was doing sexual harassment in her camp, and she just declined to even push it.
She did nothing. Just like she did nothing about her
I'm
husband.
not saying that police and Senator Harris and Senator Clinton, I'm not bashing you. I'm just saying that what the establishment media is doing is the exact same issues that occur in other campaigns for president are being ignored when Bernie, who hasn't even announced. So that tells you what is the bias.
I got a good candidate.
There is a bias. There's a clear bias.
Here's a good candidate. This is the candidate the Democrats need. This is the candidate the Democrats deserve.
Who is this?
Stormy Daniels. You guys put her up on this pedestal. So you guys
actually, you know what? The only Republicans, we didn't talk about Stormy Daniels. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Republicans talked about Stormy Daniels more than any.
Full disclosure, she came to Roseville 2 months ago. I told my man, let's go get her autograph. He declined, man.
Well, I declined.
You ain't no Republican.
Oh, but what I'm saying, but full disclosure,
full
disclosure, she needs to run Because
she might actually get a
the
lot
party,
of support.
Right, the party put her up on a pedestal. Remember,
Politics is such a circus right now.
But I don't-
She might
remember when
actually
Arnold
get
Schwarzenegger
support.
won?
All
Remember
right,
the porn
all right.
star?
I'm
And
glad
the
we're
Eric
going
Coleman
there.
on
I'm
him?
glad we're going
Let's
there.
go there. Michael Avenatti should run too.
But
Well,
she hasn't
go there.
announced. So let's get back to the ones that have announced.
But once Trump became president,
Yes.
Okay, here's what happened. When
That means
first
anything is
Obama
possible.
Obama became president, right? And racist white people, or we should say racist people, who a lot of them happen to be Caucasian,
Couldn't take
right?
it.
Racist people said, "Oh man, if that's possible, then presidency don't even mean nothing." And we started seeing all sorts of disrespect that
That's
never
true.
occurred in the
That's
office
true.
of the presidency.
Terrible.
Hold on. Then when Donald Trump became president, somebody who's like blatantly unqualified, now it's even lower. So now I'm just saying, Scooby-Doo could be president.
man.
And I'm just saying, like, Reggie?
Okay,
Let's roll on this.
Oh man, okay, you taking it there.
Rear down that wall.
Man. So I love how you like accountability, right?
All right, let's do it.
if Bernie Sanders want to run, you love accountability. What about his wife and that incident that he had with the school?
I'm so glad you said that because
I hope you are.
Right, because
I'm glad I said it too.
So
That was
facts
investigated.
reveal that the investigation happened, the court case happened, and not
And there
guilty.
was no wrongdoing.
Okay, yeah, now no wrongdoing. But it's funny.
Wait.
It's funny.
Hold on.
funny.
Hold on.
Wrongdoing.
I gotta cut this man's
Exactly.
mic. I just cut Jerome's mic. He said, "Ain't that funny?" You remember how Jerome was talking about
when it
due
came
process?
to Kavanaugh,
Do you remember?
right? When it came to Kavanaugh, it was all about due
But
process.
now Jane Sanders got due process. He said, "Forget about it."
Hey, no.
He literally, I think
he ain't telling it like it is.
That was a kangaroo court.
Oh,
Here we go.
and the
Okay.
and the Kavanaugh senators wasn't the
let me tell you,
kangaroo
'cause
court.
she got that loan.
You right? Because
$900,000 they were
You know
paying to
why?
the daughter.
Oh,
But you
Whatever
know
they
why?
pay-
You know why
Cold.
he's
It was a
concerned?
disgrace.
Wait,
It
are
was-
we gonna accept the court's ruling or not?
We're gonna accept the court's
All
ruling.
right.
You know
all
why
right.
he's concerned though? Because just like all polls
Do you know what?
showed
You're right.
in 2016,
And you're right. We got to accept R. Kelly's court ruling too.
Yeah.
When he won and said he's not a pedophile.
Man, what
so we're
happened-
gonna accept the court's ruling. Let's accept it all.
So you're
we
saying-
have to
OJ
accept
is
it.
not guilty because he was innocent too. Let's accept the court ruling.
We got to accept it, and it's wrong for him to lose a civil trial. If you're not guilty of a criminal
Right,
trial,
right.
how the heck you got to pay a civil fee?
Hey, right.
because there's
Hey.
different thresholds.
See, I
Right,
told
yeah.
y'all OJ was innocent. You heard
OJ
it first
OJ.
here.
No. We said OJ was
Not
declared
guilty.
innocent.
Okay. So that
He was
means
never declared
declared not
innocent.
guilty.
He was
Hey,
declared
look,
not guilty. There is
So
a
don't
major
defame
difference.
OJ no more. If Bernie Sanders can walk around
Yeah.
and then hold his head up high, that
He
his wife
should.
did no wrong, then I say Oasis, Orenthal, Simpson should hold his head up high too, that he had nothing to do with anything.
Duly cleared
Okay.
by court of law.
So let's go in.
hold on.
Okay.
And we got to
Okay.
throw Kavanaugh in that same boat too.
Okay.
We digress though. Let's
All
get
right.
back to the
Okay.
subject.
So,
right?
all right, great.
Let's
So,
get-
so,
who
Kamala.
else has announced?
Who else announced?
Tulsi
Here's my issue with
Gabbard.
Kamala.
Tulsi Gabbard,
No.
okay.
Tulsi
Okay,
Gabbard
before
is
her,
announced.
here's my issue with Kamala. I think she has great potential, but the problem every
Who we talking
time
about?
Kamala Harrison, right?
Okay.
I already think she has great
Kamala
potential.
Harris.
Senator
Kamala
Harris.
Harris. Kamala Harris, right? I think
Kamala
she has great
Harris.
potential. But every time when I saw
Former
her with
Attorney
the,
General.
when she was
Of California.
the district attorney of San Francisco, she made a statement about not the death penalty. You had the police officer that got killed.
Yeah.
And then as attorney general, she didn't do enough with all this police corruption that was going on.
She did not.
And so even now, and even when I hear when she talks about ICE and just some of the
Now
statements.
you said didn't do enough, so they did something.
I mean, in a sense that you had these cop killings that occurred with these with these black kids getting killed.
You mean killings by cops?
Killings by cops.
Like Oscar
Officer
Grant.
Bob shooting, right?
Like
and
Oscar
there was
Grant,
no,
like so many
she had
others
the
in
power.
California.
She had the power to go in and do these investigations. There's nothing happened.
Okay.
So to me, I don't think she really has the really backing of a lot of the law enforcement. And if you look at what Trump's doing, I mean, for whatever reason, he's just turned his whole life to the police. He's just pumping them up. So I think in California, New York, and these extra liberal states, she would do well. But when you're talking about that middle state, when you talk about that middle conservative state, how is she going to turn those individuals? And so I just think it's hard. So we get into the next one, Christine
Gillibrand.
Gillibrand. I think that is a good pick because I even like how she handled herself with Kavanaugh when he attacked her.
Mm-hmm.
She was composed. I think that really, to me,
She was more composed than Kavanaugh.
no, she was more composed than Kavanaugh. And to me, now, I would tell you, if I was a Democrat,
Snoopy was more composed
No,
than
you're right. But if I was a Democrat, I would hang my money on her because I really like her demeanor.
I like that you said that.
And I really like her demeanor, and I think that she could bring in Republicans and she could bring in Democrats because she seems like she's down that middle. type of girl, and she doesn't seem like she's really far left
Well,
or far
middle Democrat.
She's middle. She's like
Middle
a moderate.
Democrat.
She's like a
Yeah.
moderate Democrat.
Because she used to be corporatist, and now she pledged to not
Right.
take corporate.
So
PAC
I
money.
really like that pick.
Is that development? Is that making progress? Is she developed as a
Why are we
politician?
listening to the conservative Republican talk about who he likes?
I just
No,
saying,
I'm just saying that
I
if
think
we're,
he
if
should-
we're
we should
talking,
hear it.
no,
Okay.
if we're
Let him
talking
give
about
his-
2020, I mean, I got my
'Cause you're next.
right. I mean, so if you don't like, I mean, you probably want somebody like
No,
Michael
I'm just
Avenatti.
saying, I'm just
you
saying.
probably got a Michael Avenatti T-shirt and drawers at your house. You know, we know you undercover Avenatti fan.
Do they make those?
Man, they probably glow in the dark. I don't know.
He's
what you
only
got going
mentioning
on.
them because he knows.
It's Amazon.
knows.
Amazon got everything. No, I'm just
They're
saying.
in his cart.
No, if you
Saved for later on the
no,
wish
but
list.
you know, if you look at it right now, I really do like her. I like Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden will become, if he would actually run, I think that's a good pick.
I think Joe Biden missed his chance. He should have ran
But-
in place of Hillary Clinton. He would be the
he
president.
president.
He got
Without a doubt.
iced because of Hillary Clinton.
He sure did.
But once again, that's the Democrats. Like, look, we got to push her. They just wanted to push.
That's the first time.
Right.
Let's talk about
Right.
that.
He talking about
right?
that.
When is the last time you can think of that a vice president of any party
Didn't
got
run.
iced and kicked to the side,
iced
so that Secretary of State could
Oh
run?
man,
Come on.
When
man.
was the last time that's happened?
Wasn't that
And to me, for that reason, and to me,
Spiro Agnew? And
oh
then,
man.
for that reason alone,
shouldn't run, huh?
he shouldn't run because that again it
But
gets back
I
to
like
character.
him. I mean, anytime you can challenge Trump,
I'll sit
remember
down and
when-
have a beer with him any day of the week.
Yeah, but remember he wanted to
right?
fight
But
Trump when
that
in
don't
the
mean
back
that
alley.
he should be president.
What Joe and Trump, man, they supposed to put some boxing gloves on and fight. Remember, Joe Biden said he wanted to fight him. He won't beat him up or something.
Did
That'd
he
have been
do
good.
it? But did he do it?
Nah.
Oh, he didn't. You know, he's not gonna be. You know, I mean, what you
I
gonna
can't
pay to see
respect
that?
that. I
I would
can't
pay to see that
respect that.
pay-per-view fight. President Trump and Dirty Joe.
Don't put it past.
Okay, look at
don't
this.
put it past
So-
Trump
so-
Inc.
Trump,
I mean,
right?
they done
Hey,
sold-
he
they
might
done
put it.
sold
Right,
everything.
because he can't. I saw him on SNL.
Only thing he can't sell is a workout video.
Oh, well,
I'm
that's
just
true.
saying.
I'd
He
rather
got
see
everything
that than
else.
him run for president. I just gotta say that.
Say again.
I'd rather see him
But at the end of the day,
fight with
okay,
Donald Trump than run for
do you?
president.
Okay, let me ask you
I
this.
think
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this.
Who's next?
Do you think Trump is going to
Julian
survive
Castro.
2020?
No.
Survive. He ain't gonna see
Well,
2020.
I would say,
Oh, my- okay,
it
we get hot
all,
here now.
it all depends, just like it did on his first election. It all depends on who is the Democratic nominee.
I agree.
100%. It
I agree.
depends who is going to be the Democratic nominee, because if it's another weak corporate
Yeah.
Democrat
I agree.
that's about compromise and middle of the road and being polished over people, I'm not going to buy it as a Democrat, so I know independent America is not, right?
You gotta-
that's the debate right now in the Democratic Party is, are we going to move forward as a party and start representing for the values of the party, or are we going to keep selling out to these corporations that want to put their values first with sellout candidates, right? Put them on stage, because we already knew as a Bernie Sanders delegate, that's what happened with Hillary versus Bernie, right? I was there
No
for
doubt,
it.
no doubt.
I see
Donna
it
Brazile
behind the
admitted
scenes.
it in her
Here's
book.
what she admitted.
But to-
So to me, it 100% depends. If Donald Trump is going to win 2020,
Yeah.
it's going to depend on who is going to be the Democratic nominee.
We know who's going to be it.
I think it's irrelevant. I'm
The
gonna tell you
rising
why.
star.
You got to read the tea leaves, my friend. Let me
Okay.
tell you one thing Republicans always do.
Are the tea leaves orange?
They telegraph.
Is it
all,
Is it orange tea?
Telegraph all they moves. Let me tell you, telegraph all they moves.
I can't believe
Hold
it.
on.
I can't believe it.
Check it
I
out.
can't believe it. I got Flip Buster here. I got Governor.
Hold
Don.
on, hold
What
on.
is going on?
No.
Every day. It
Hey,
is
I'm
crazy
just
today.
looking at facts.
Okay,
So
oh,
check this out.
can't believe it. I just
Republicans
can't
will
believe
telegraph their move. I'll show you. I'll give you an example.
got it.
Mitch
Okay.
McConnell
Let's
says.
hear it, let's
Mitch
hear it.
McConnell says you can't appoint no Supreme Court justice.
He sure did.
on your last year.
And the Democrats
Hold on.
bow down.
Hold on, and then turn around and did the opposite.
Did the opposite.
Hold on. So this is how this is.
But who started it?
Hold
Who
on.
started it, my brother?
Doesn't matter.
Come on, Governor Don.
Here's what I'm saying.
No.
You
Keep
mi-
the facts going. Don't stop.
I
with
got the
facts.
facts
check,
going.
fact check.
Fact checking.
You
Who started it first?
You're undercutting my point,
Oh,
my
okay.
friend. So
Let's tell it like
I
it
just
is.
gave an example. So here's what I'm saying.
Harry Reid, for y'all don't know.
Tell me what's going on with
Nuclear option.
Steve King. I'm just talking about the most beloved Republican that no matter what he ever did, they was on his side and they had his back. What's happening with him?
What's going on with him?
I'm gonna tell you what's happening to him. This
I
is
wanna
called
hear.
a foreshadow.
Let me hear.
The Republicans are practicing dropping somebody who they've been 100% behind. If and no buts.
So I
That ain't right.
got something for you guys.
So
Because
they,
you know,
I'm saying they testing
hey,
it. Hold on, because the other Republicans is not saying, and the Republican Party and the Republican constituents is not saying this is wrong. You should back Steve King. They're saying, you know what? Hold on,
I can't take the attacks on my Republican brothers.
Hold
anymore.
on, it's not an attack. I'm just saying that is a telegraph move.
Okay,
let me tell it like it is.
There's another one. There's another one that they're gonna have to say. You know what? We just can't support him no more.
Let me tell it like it is one time.
Tell it.
Where is the loyalty?
Oh, cold.
So I'm gonna tell you where the loyalty's at. The princess of the Democratic Party is going to run.
Who's
Alexandria Cortez.
No, she's not.
Whatever she is, right?
Hey, but just shout out
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Ocasio-Cortez. Okay, so she's going to run.
That's my walking.
I know.
Shout out for my girl.
AOC.
Okay.
AOC.
Let's get into. We got to get to a good statement.
Wait. I ain't said my pick.
Hear your
First of all,
he been waiting for
Motec hasn't chimed in. Let's hear it.
What do you mean? We've been
chiming.
I've been part of this.
He wants Bernie.
All I heard was Democrats.
He wants Bernie all today. All he wants is Bernie.
But that's true though.
Both of y'all think Trump is
He'll be the nominee. That's a definite.
He got a Bernie T-shirt in the house.
Okay.
I do.
Smoking a cigar.
I do.
With the bank in the background, with the money with his wife, running like this.
I don't know about that.
And the courts saying we let you go.
He's making it up like it is, like it ain't.
I got.
He ain't telling it like it is. He's making up like it ain't.
I got two ways to look at this.
Okay.
All right. Let me tell you who I think should run. No doubt, hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts. It should be the guy same age as the president now, because he was supposed to be too old to run, but it was Bernie Sanders. If Bernie Sanders don't
100% agree.
100% Bernie
100%.
hands down. But let me tell you who the Republicans should run.
Oh man, how you gonna run? You got the president.
Wait.
Hey, hold up. Time out. Pause
Again.
one time. Give me 5 seconds. But the same way Joe Biden was passed up as vice president, the Republican Party. Let's remember they never wanted Trump.
Right. So let me tell you who the Republicans
does the GOP have enough clout
They ain't gonna do it.
to supersede Trump?
I have a Republican
I'm here.
that cannot be beaten by any person who we think of is going to announce.
Ronald Reagan.
No.
He said Ronald.
No.
We gonna bring him up from the grave.
Let's follow my lead.
I'm
now.
here.
Obama broke down barriers and people said presidency.
He's going to run as a Republican.
Hold on.
Because Obama was basically an undercover Republican.
Then Trump runs, and it's like, man, you don't even got to be qualified. Now,
I would love to see that just for the theater of it.
The cult of personality is real. There is a Republican who cannot be beaten. His name is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
He's a Republican?
He's a Democrat.
Wow.
What?
No, he's a Republican.
He's a Republican.
He's a Republican.
He cannot be beaten.
Is he? Hold on.
Hold on.
Point of clarification.
While Jerome over here defending Trump, you ain't gonna defend The Rock.
No, you're right. So what's he gonna do? Is he gonna rock bottom Mitch McConnell? I said get the tax done.
No, you forgot this America.
He gonna do the people's elbow?
It don't matter what he do. Trump got elected. Dwayne Johnson gonna get elected on popularity.
He did bail out the city on Rampage.
Bam.
I just gotta say that.
But
I gotta ask.
You saw that movie with the
Tooth Fairy?
the Fast and the Furious and
Detective Oz?
he was all that.
Conspiracy
and
theory.
He was the police.
Let me say conspiracy theory, right?
Okay.
He does got a new show on NBC like Trump did before. He got elected.
Yeah, that's right. Titans.
Maybe that's the launching pad.
You know what? Governor Don, I will give you this one today. I love The Rock's pick. Rock, if you're hearing this, I know you're watching this.
Wait. I got
Come
another
on the show.
Pick. I also have the only person in America who could beat The Rock. The only Democrat in America who could beat The Rock. No. You tell me.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
One letter.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
One letter.
But he's not eligible.
It start with O.
Omarion?
Obama.
Oprah.
I'm
predicting.
She's a Republican too?
No, she's a Democrat.
So let me ask.
The only Republican that could beat everyone on the Democratic line is The Rock. And the only Democrat that could beat The Rock is the Oprah.
Let me ask.
You know what? I know what happened. You know what happened? Governor Don went all week. He said, I got something for him. I got Oprah. I got Oprah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And I'm going to drop this funny on them.
That's what happened.
When they bring up the 2020, I'm going to drop this funny. And
you think it's funny,
listen,
but Trump is the president.
Let me just ask.
I mean, with that being said, you're right. I mean, with that being said, anybody can run. I mean.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm about to ask a real question to either one of you.
Yeah.
2020 elections happening. It's The Rock versus Oprah. Which one you voting for? Go. Motec.
Rock. I go rock.
You go with the rock.
Hey, people.
Motec.
The people is the most electrifying move in today's entertainment.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who
It
you vote
doesn't
for.
matter who you vote for.
It depends, just like 2016, what Oprah had to do to get the nomination.
So I just got to tell it like it is. Real deal pundits to just pick between The Rock and Oprah. Mic drop.
Hey, before we end that part and move on to the end of the day.
No, I gotta get to tell it like it is. Story today.
Before that, let me just ask.
Okay.
What kind of Republican is The Rock? Is he a?
It doesn't
matter what kind of Republican he is.
It doesn't matter what kind.
I gotta ask.
Wait,
is he a tax purposes Republican? Or is he a
The Rock is
a MAGA hat wearing Republican that want to fund the wall?
Very much a social liberal, fiscal conservative Republican. Old school Republican.
So here we go.
He would be.
I mean, not old school.
So he would be an undercover Democrat the same way Obama was an undercover Republican.
Correct.
Okay.
Here we go.
Which is
same thing.
So you got to vote opposite. It's opposite.
I got to give you the
it's like Freaky Friday. You go to opposite.
Okay, Freaky Friday.
Okay.
We got to get the story. You got the picture?
Right.
Now this comes in. I was looking. I said, man, we gotta get a good story. You gotta get something good that's gonna sting the audience. And I ran across Erykah Badu at her concert, giving props to R. Kelly.
What?
And then they booed her. So Erykah Badu, if you giving props to R. Kelly,
she better call Tyrone.
You better call Tyrone. How are you gonna give props to R. Kelly with all this stuff going on? Whether you agree or disagree. You cannot give props to R. Kelly. That's like you can't play Step in the Name of Love. And this guy over here said 12 play. You know what that meant. I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't like what he said when he disrespected R. Kelly like that. But you cannot.
That was the name of his album.
Hey, 12 play.
You ain't even a real R. Kelly
listen,
fan.
I know what it was. But you cannot give props to him with all this going on and get booed and then try to defend yourself. I mean, they booed you. I mean, you shouldn't even said anything.
R. Kelly did let everybody know at the beginning of his career, he didn't see nothing wrong with a little bit of bump and grind.
Okay, AJ, nothing but number, huh? So, with Aaliyah.
And he came out married to Aaliyah at 16.
Oh, man.
Right? So why?
15.
Well, the relationship started at 15, but they got married at 16.
And the girl said she saw him in the bus, and she saw him creeping in the back room in the bus, and it's just horrible. All I'm saying is, I'm not glorifying R. Kelly. I'm just saying, you see the surviving R. Kelly, and it's sad, right? Whether you believe it, don't believe it.
It was very eye opening. I would say.
Well, we know that this legal system we got is only right. Maybe more than half of the time.
But regardless if it's wrong or right,
maybe.
But I mean, you got so many people that are coming out, and then you got the video. When he just urinating on a young girl.
You saw the video?
Oh man, I didn't want to watch that video.
I didn't see that.
But I'm just saying.
Well, all that came out when YouTube was new to.
I'm not trying to see that
video.
But
Erykah Badu, please, in your next concert, don't talk about R. Kelly. Because we don't want to put you on.
But what did she say? What did she say though?
She dropped a bomb, man. She just basically came out and gave a shout out to her.
Yeah, she gave a shout out, and people said, "How you gonna give a shout out?" And then they booed her, and then she tried to justify it, and so.
But that's what I'm interested in. Why? What did she use to justify it?
She's trying.
It says, here's a tweet from Jackie Marquez.
Read the tweet.
It says, I really want to say how much I loved Erykah Badu's concert tonight, but I can't get over how she tried to justify and defend R. Kelly's actions and reputation during her set. I'm so disappointed. Instagram at Boy Donovan. What if one of those people who was assaulted by R. Kelly becomes an offender? Who's going to crucify them too? Erykah Badu said at her concert.
Right. It was just bad. But that was my tell it like it is story of the day. Erykah Badu, please don't come on Tell It Like It Is again unless you walk in the talk or walk in the week or.
So getting into that, let's end it on walking the talk, right?
Walking the talk.
I got to give props to AOC for walking the talk.
Out of here. Oh, man. Let's talk about her.
For walking the talk,
she
right?
She sure did walk the talk.
Hey, I love AOC.
I know you do. Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. Ocasio-Cortez, right. Let me tell you about her. She couldn't even fight. There it is. Please put that picture up. Please put it up.
Hold on, that's not a walking talk. That's a flips again.
Hey, man, that's her. Please put that picture up.
Hold on, I get it.
No, put that picture up.
I got it.
No. She was looking for Mitch McConnell, and he was in the office of the minority.
Mitch McConnell.
We know who he is. And she running around looking at the wrong spot.
Hey, the
reason
why
right. She did walk the talk.
She did walk the talk.
Walk them hallways.
She just walked to the wrong office. But she was walking the talk. And I give her props for putting in the work.
That's the bitch you want to use.
I give her props for putting in the work.
And she broke C-SPAN.
Looking for them.
Look at this.
She set a record on C-SPAN, who nobody pays attention to unless you're trying to fall asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning.
My God.
She broke a record for most views with her speech on the floor.
Flip Meister in here.
And I get look. Here's why I love Alexandria, right?
Okay.
Because
Lord Jesus.
number one, she's a fallow burner, right? Number one, props for that.
What do you mean burner? Like
Bernie Sanders.
I think you mean Bernie
Bernie crab.
Probably also.
Yeah,
It's legal now, so it is what it is.
New York City.
A Bernie crab, right? But on top of that, what was she doing before she ran for Congress?
I'll tell you what she was doing. She was at the bar, and she just got this bright idea. She was serving drinks. Somebody came in like you, said, I want a mule Moscow. She goes, you know what? Here you go. And matter of fact, I think I should run for Congress.
No.
And they said, you know what? You should run for Congress. And she said, well, over this.
What they gonna say, Jerome, when you run? They gonna say, man, this is a guy. He had a radio show.
Hey, listen. Over the mule Moscow that she was drinking with the other guy she was drinking.
You know what?
As they tipped, they said we're gonna walk the streets of New York because there's more.
And walk the talk.
And we're gonna walk the talk.
But
even though we don't know what's going on with the world, even though when we get in, we think we're gonna be signing this and we're gonna be signing that and we're gonna be signing this. Even though we're gonna look for Mitch in the bathroom
turns out
when he's in the Congress room, but we're looking in the chambers. Come on. At what point, Governor Don, are you gonna say? She just gotta step up because she ain't stepping her game up.
Can I say my piece now?
Go ahead.
Why I got love for
walking the
AOC?
talk? How she gotta walk the talk?
This is why she walking the talk to me.
Even if
R. Kelly gonna walk the talk next week.
You don't agree with the talk, but she is walking the talk.
She walking her talk, right?
What talk?
And this is the point. This is why I got love for AOC, because at the end of the day,
AOC,
she was just an average, ordinary American
bartender.
Right? Bartender, that don't make her less American.
It doesn't.
If anything, that's a hard-working woman right there. And she answered the call. She was ignited with the spark that turned into the flame from the Bernie Sanders progressive movement. She answered the call. She worked on that campaign. She became an organizer for that campaign. And they said, look, here's what people don't understand about Bernie Sanders and this whole Our Revolution movement, right? It was never about Bernie Sanders. And to this day, it's still not about Bernie Sanders.
Who's it about?
Bernie Sanders was never the leader of a movement. He was only the spokesperson. And that's what people don't get. It's about the values that he was espousing that resonated with the everyday average Americans that are working in these conditions, living in these conditions, and want to see better for themselves and for the children. She answered the call to get involved, and now she's in Congress. So I got agree with her policies or not, which I do. Of course you don't, right? Agree with her policies or not. You gotta love and respect that Cinderella all-American story. I don't care what nobody says.
Can you buzz her for the walkie-talkie of the week?
She is walking the talk.
Buzzer.
Let's get that buzzer.
Yeah, she walking somewhere, but she ain't walking the talk.
She just walked to the wrong office.
Well, anyways, we
but she brand new. You got to give her some slack.
Hey, hold on. Being a freshman Congress person,
you got to give her some slack.
She's already on committee assignment. Oh my goodness! And let me tell you, here's why I think she walking the talk. Real talk.
Come here.
What she ran on, she's representing to
exactly.
So what she didn't do,
and that's what walking the talk means.
What she ran on?
She ran on. I'm gonna fight for Medicare for all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight for a living wage. I'm gonna fight for representation.
She's representing.
Most importantly, she said, I'm gonna fight
the
to
values
get,
that
to
she
get big
campaigned
money out
on.
of politics.
Okay.
Right.
So check this out. To AOS staff,
AOC.
When you're making $3 an hour because she fought for this, whatever you call her. You're gonna make $3 an hour.
You're gonna make what her real initials are.
You're gonna make $3 an hour because remember she got to walk the talk. So she said you can't make over $15 an hour. She's not gonna give you health care.
She never said that.
No, the other way around.
No,
that's fact check.
She said minimum.
That's the base minimum.
Make the base
the
minimum.
base minimum.
So if you go work for her, remember this: You better start on for food stamps in the next hour.
AOC,
because she not AOS.
hit me up.
AOC,
I'll go work for you.
He
I'll
probably
send
will.
my resume.
He probably will work for you, but
I would.
when he get that first paycheck and he got to go to the welfare line, he ain't gonna work for you no
I
more.
don't know about that.
But anyways, next week.
Wait. He ain't getting the first paycheck because it's coming from the federal government that Donald Trump.
Oh, that's right. He ain't getting no check.
Donald Trump not paying.
But they got to rely on the
so next
supplies
week,
and
get a
charity
check
right
stub.
now. Thanks to your president.
Next week we are going to have live calls.
Thanks to the leader of your party.
We want to talk about the women's march. We want to get your.
We're going to work on that because that's an issue that's
that is important
to our
issue.
local community.
Right. That is a local
controversy
issue.
has arisen from.
Right.
And we want to get dialogue from both sides.
Yeah.
So just tune in next week. Same time. Tell like it is at 6 p.m. We're gonna bring that political disputes from a conservative Republican and a progressive liberal. I think I got two. I got two in the
Democrat.
house.
No. Governor Don is 100% independent.
He's neutral.
Not neutral.
Okay,
independent.
Independent. Republicans love him. So, anyways, we
see, but that's the thing about the independent, right?
But that's real because I believe in the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, Fourth Amendment,
and that's the thing, right? That's why Trump won. And that's why we knew Trump was going to win when Hillary was the nominee. I was there in Philadelphia, and the polls, the statistics, the data all said, if Hillary is the nominee against Trump, she's going to lose.
Right.
If it's Bernie versus Trump, Bernie's going to win.
100%.
Because it all depends on who is the independent voter, meaning they don't care about either party. And the majority of American registered voters right now are independent voters. Mm-hmm. So we just got to keep that in mind.
So stay tuned in next week. We love y'all. And you got to call in. You got to call and get involved with us because this guy over here, Flipmaster's crazy. Governor Don, he on his own island out there, be laughing and grinning. The fact finder himself.
The fact finder.
But he don't want to find facts for me because he don't want to help me out. He don't want to make the Republicans look good.
I at least twice today.
Okay, there we go.
At least.
We gonna convert it.
Average is what, 3.9?
It's not bad.
Come on, first show.
He's
getting better.
All right, well,
he's getting better.
We out of here. Wait, what is it, Don? Stockton.
Oh yeah, Voice of San Joaquin.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all. And then look out for more changes coming out. I mean, pay attention to what we're doing. We do it here. We do this for you, and we can't do it without you. So get on our pages, join us. Make sure you become a member. If you've been a member, renew your membership. All of that. It takes all of us.
And last but not least, go to their page, of course. Like KXVS, tell it like it is. We have a Facebook page. Share the video with your friends. We're all about. Obviously, we can sit here and disagree, but we're doing it respectfully, and that's the part that we feel is missing in American politics, where everything has become political between philosophies to even brands, right? Like Nike became a dividing factor, or football teams, or whatever the case may be. So we're all about trying to have a dialogue because that's what's going to move us all as a nation forward.
And as you like to say, salute, and we out of here.
Salute, we out of here. See you next week.
All right.